Today I'm going to talk a little bit more about Unnatural Vegan and Gamergate.
This is a world premiere. This is a world.
So a few days ago, I made a video responding to Unnatural Vegan and the way she may have completely misinterpreted the notion of intersectionality and social justice. Before I jump in, I want to thank Vegan Sister and A Privileged Vegan for shoutouts on their channel, and also for you guys tackling the subject a little bit in your own videos. One of my great concerns about Unnatural Vegan's video is that it presented a very inaccurate portrait of what intersectionality is. And confirming my concerns, there were a lot of people who were simply accepting her definition at face value and using it to argue against the whole idea of intersectionality. I even had people saying things like intersectionality is flawed because it doesn't address blah, blah, blah. From that, I can already tell that the person doesn't understand what intersectionality is. If you think of intersectionality as, say, a paintbrush. Obviously, a paintbrush is a tool that can be used in lots of different ways. One can use it with all different types of media. You can write with it. I would not ever criticize a paintbrush because it was not effective when I tried to use it as a suppository. Although if you want to use a paintbrush as a suppository, I am not here to judge you. Intersectionality as a tool is only going to be as useful as the person who is attempting to apply that tool. The person understands the tool and decides to put it to good use, then it's going to be helpful. If the person doesn't understand the tool or they decide they're going to use it for some nefarious purposes, then it's going to have a different outcome. Now, some of you, because of what you perceive as my politics or my identity, you might only hear me saying, "Die, hunky cracker! Die! Die! Die!" And because of that, my message may not get through to you as clearly as if someone like Unnatural Vegan were to clarify the meaning of those concepts. Whether she will or she won't, I don't know. Unfortunately, in the meantime, there are going to be a lot of people who will just simply be misinformed. And for some people, it's going to serve their best interest to continue being misinformed, and that's their prerogative. It's certainly not going to make for very useful debate. Now, for those of you who may be intersectionalist or part of the social justice movement and coming from, say, more an academic background, it's really important for us to keep in mind that not everybody is at the same level of education. So it's really important to keep in mind that the messages we send come to people in a way that they can really understand it, and keeping things kind of simple. In some ways, that was the whole purpose of the Food for Thought series to begin with, to kind of distill things into terms that people could understand. In other words, it's quite possible when we start talking about intersectionality, all people are really going to hear is, "I am a social justice warrior. I am from the planet Intersecton. I am part of the axis of evil." So to avoid that, it's up to us to make sure that the message is as clear as possible to the widest audience as possible. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean dumbing things down, but it does mean that we have to be careful when we use jargon. Now, all that said, regardless of what jargon I use or whether or not you can hear what I'm saying clearly, it is never productive to ask me to eat AIDS. And Unnatural Vegan, if you do plan on making another video to clarify the true definition of intersectionality and social justice, you might want to talk to your viewers a little bit about saying things like that. It's the kind of thing that might get me to call you a homophobe. Gamergate! I also recently made a video talking about the connection between the gaming community and the anti-social justice warrior movement. In that video, I brought up hashtag Gamergate. So I want to clarify again that I am not anti-gamer. I'm not even necessarily anti-Gamergate. In fact, I had never heard about Gamergate until I started doing research into why social justice warriors were seen as such a negative thing in social media. I found a number of articles on the subject and left links to them in that video, and will include those links in the description box below of this video. People seemed most concerned that I was mischaracterizing Gamergate. It would be totally hypocritical of me to criticize Unnatural Vegan for getting the definitions of intersectionality and social justice wrong, and then turn around and not address the concerns that people from the gaming community and the Gamergate movement had about my mischaracterization of their movement. I didn't find a clear mission statement for Gamergaters, but I was able to draw from several sources the idea that Gamergate stands for ethics in journalism. There has been a lot of controversy around Gamergate, but again, I don't want to be hypocritical. For example, I understand that there is a minority of individuals who, in the name of Black Lives Matter, have done things that actually go against what that movement stands for. I have to assume the same is true that amongst Gamergaters, there are a minority who are doing things that the rest of that group just doesn't stand for. Now, unfortunately, a lot of folks who have left comments on my channel who have claimed to be advocates of Gamergate haven't actually come out and said that they're against things like, say, death threats or doxing. And my hope would be that a majority of members of the Gamergate community would stand against those things if asked. I'm going to be linking to two articles. One is from the Washington Post, and the other is from Sargon of Akkad. Yes, I said Sargon of Akkad. A number of the people leaving comments on my channel referred to Sargon of Akkad's video on Gamergate, and so that's the one that I'm including. I did watch Sargon of Akkad's video, and I have to say, I found it interesting, and there was nothing in it that I found overtly offensive. Now, all that said, I still believe that there is unwarranted anti-social justice sentiment in social media, and I am still fairly convinced that a lot of that came out of negative components within the Gamergate community. But again, it would be completely unfair to generalize and say that the majority of Gamergaters share that sentiment. So I hope this clears some things up for some people. I'm sure there's still a lot of things that I don't know about Gamergate, and hopefully you folks who know about it will be willing to teach me and share your knowledge in the comments section. So what do you know about Gamergate? What's been your experience? And about Unnatural Vegan, do you think she should make another video explaining how she was wrong about intersectionality and social justice? That's it for this video. Share, comment, subscribe. This is Reg signing off. Love yourself. Peace.
And I love myself. The world is a ghetto with big guns and dick inside.